Hello there. I had a few moments, and so I thought I'd start my series of reading with Santa. I'm going to have a number of books that I'll just start reading. And after each book, I'm going to stop broadcasting. And it's just a technical thing that I have to stop in order to be able to save the video of that individual book. Okay? So let's get started. You're with Santa's Studio. The first story is Santa's Book of Names. The author is David McPhail. Do you see that? I already read this story in one of our episodes several months ago, but we'll do it again as part of this Santa's Reading series. I love the illustrations. Look at that. Beautiful. Santa's Book of Names. Edward was good at numbers. He could count all the way to 50. He could recite the alphabet, and he knew the names of most of the dinosaurs. But when he opened a book and tried to read it, he just couldn't. Edward's teacher was concerned. She sent a note to Edward's mother and father urging that he be tested to find out what the problem was. No tests, Edward's mother wrote back. Patience. At bedtime on Christmas Eve, Edward's father read aloud Edward's favorite Christmas story. In the story, Santa Claus delivers presents to boys and girls around the world. How does Santa Claus remember all of the names of the boys and girls that he gives presents to? That's an awful lot of names. And where do they live? How does he remember that? And what toys does he bring them? He must have a very good memory, said Edward's father. Or maybe he has it written down in a book, said Edward's mother as she came in to say goodnight. Can you see that? After his mother and father had kissed him and turned off the light, Edward took his flashlight from under his pillow. Do you do that? And he tried to read the story to himself. See him? He wanted more than anything to be able to read. And he almost could. Almost, but not quite. Just as he turned the last page, Edward heard a noise. He sat up and he listened. Yes, there it was again. Edward slid out of bed and he tiptoed downstairs. When he peeked into the living room, he saw that a stocking was filled and that there were presents under the tree. Santa had come and gone, and Edward had missed him. Then Edward noticed something else. Something was lying on the floor in front of the fireplace. It was a book. He bent down and he picked it up. The book was thick and heavy, and probably very old. The cover was worn and the pages were tattered. Santa must have dropped the book. Edward suddenly realized he wondered what he should do. You see? There's the book. Edward ran to the front door. He threw the door open and he stepped outside. Just as he did, a long shadow passed over him and glided across the fresh, moonlit snow. "Santa, wait!" cried Edward. "You forgot your book." But in the jingle of sleigh bells and the rush of the wind, Santa did not hear. And in an instant, Santa was gone. Do you see the shadow? How far could Santa get without his book? Edward wondered. And when Santa realized the book was missing, how would he know where to find it? Have you ever lost anything and it took you a long time to find it? Then Edward had an idea. He hurried back into the house, quickly put on his boots, his mittens, his coat, and his hat. He knew what letter the word book started with, so he tromped out a huge letter B with his boots in the snow. Would Santa see it? And even if he did, would he know what it meant? Then Edward heard the sound of sleigh bells, growing closer and closer. He looked up. High overhead, Santa's sleigh appeared. It circled once, then went into a steep dive, gliding to a stop right in front of Edward. Do you see a little bit of the sleigh up here? And down below you see the letter B. Do you see Edward handing the book to Santa? "Hello, Edward. I see that you found my book," said Santa, who looked very much like the Santa in Edward's storybook, except that his nose wasn't round, it was pointed. "That book contains the names and addresses of all of the children in the world," Santa explained. "Most of them I know by heart, but I can't always remember which present to leave. That's why I need my book." Edward held the book out to Santa. "Thank you, Edward," said Santa, and he gently patted Edward's shoulder. "It would be a big help if you would come along with Santa and read the book to me in case I forget something." Ride with Santa in a sleigh? Edward couldn't believe his ears. He stared down at the glistening snow. I can't help you, Santa," he stammered. I can't read." "Come along anyway. You can hold the book open so the pages don't blow. I promise I'll have you back before sunrise." Edward smiled. "Okay," he said, and he jumped into the sleigh beside Santa, who bundled him up in a thick woolen robe and placed the open book on his lap. Then Santa gave a low whistle, and the reindeer lunged forward, lifting the sleigh up into the crisp, clean air of night. From rooftop to rooftop they went. At each stop, Santa would disappear down the chimney with a small bag full of toys. Oh my. Presently they came to a great big city with skyscrapers, dark and silent. They loomed around and above them, sailing left and right and up and down. Santa made his way from one apartment house to the next. 1,000,000 children must live in this city, thought Edward, and Santa delivers toys to every single one of them. How he did it, Edward couldn't say. Does time slow down, he wondered? Does time stop? On Christmas Eve, while Santa goes about his work, is there magic involved? On they went to other cities and to every town and little village. I'll go wherever there's a child, Santa said. All this time, Edward had been holding the book and turning the pages so that Santa, his glasses balanced on the tip of his pointed nose, could glance over and read what was written beside each name. He read aloud, Pablo Lopez, paint set. Lucy Wells, baseball mitt, as Edward followed along. They were crossing. Oh, you have to see this illustration. Look at this. Look at that ocean. Waves, rough, tumbling. They were crossing a vast ocean, skimming above the waves, when a huge seabird flew in front of them. As they went past the bird, the tip of the wing brushed Santa's glasses and sent his glasses flying off. Down, down the glasses fell, until with a faint splash, they entered the dark sea and they disappeared. Can you see the glasses there? Right there, I think. Yeah, see the glasses? Santa's actually had that happen, by the way. It wasn't over the ocean. It was above a lake. And I lost my glasses, and Mrs. Claus had to drive home. Oh dear, Santa exclaimed. Now I really need your help. Think you the words to me, Edward? Edward knew Santa was counting on him, as were the boys and girls around the entire world. I'll try, Edward said. Good, said Santa. I was up to the 7th name on that page, Ben Hill. Edward counted down the page, 6, 7. Beside the name was a word that looked familiar to him. Edward began. That's right, Santa. Just sound it out. "Ook," said Edward. "Book! A book it is, then," declared Santa as he landed the sleigh and he stepped out. "What's next, Edward?" Santa asked upon his return. Edward looked up at Santa. "Doll," he said proudly. After that, Edward continued to read from the list. And while Santa was delivering one present, Edward was getting another present ready to go. You see Santa up on top of the chimney. Finally, they were finished. Edward closed the book of names and placed it on the seat beside him as Santa popped up from the last chimney and took one final present from his bag. It was a book. "Merry Christmas," said Santa as he handed the book to Edward. "Thank you so much for your help. I couldn't have done it without you. You helped save Christmas." Then he took up the reins once more, and in an instant they were streaking across the dawning sky. Edward opened his book to the first page and stared down at the words. Do you see them returning to drop Edward back off? Beautiful illustrations. Illustrations is another fancy word for drawings. He must have fallen asleep on the way home, because the next thing he knew, his mother was gently shaking him and softly calling his name. "Merry Christmas, Edward," she whispered. "Time to wake up and see what Santa Claus brought you." Edward opened his eyes. He was lying on the sofa in front of the fireplace. "Look at what Santa left you," said Edward's father, as he bent down and picked up a book. "Would you like me to read it to you?" Edward smiled. "No, thanks, Dad," he replied. "Let me read it to you." See Edward on the couch? Edward learned to read that night, and he did read the book of names that Santa had given him to his mother and father. That was Santa's Book of Names by David McPhail. What a wonderful story. We all learn to read in our own time. Some people learn sooner, some people learn a little bit later. But eventually, we all learn to read. I'll be back in a moment with another story